Hi everybody, Erin here again today. I wanted to introduce you to a fun new product called Maker's Mix. This is by Beacon, and it's a concrete. It's light and fast setting, and we are using this in conjunction with a project for my son's school. So he is in a GT Flex program, and part of it is that he needs to create, my son Morgan.
The project is to show you what you're interested in and want to be when you grow up.
Okay.
So my thing, I chose dinosaur eggs, which we're making out of these things. A small one with this, and a big one that we already made the bottom with this.
So my son is doing a comparison between two different sizes of dinosaur eggs that have been found. So there's smaller dinosaur eggs, which are about the size, a little bit smaller than a chicken egg. So that's why we're going to use the inside of it's a small Easter egg. And so we've sprayed it, we've coated it with spray. And then we're also comparing with a larger egg. The larger egg, we're using one of the Maker's molds, and this is a 2-part round mold. And again, you need to spray it with some sort of like vegetable oil, which we have done. So we made this bowl last night and we let it sit. It only takes about 30 minutes to cure, and it's got a little bit of a weight to it, but it's not too terribly bad. So what do you think, Morgan? Is it super heavy?
No, it's not that heavy.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do two different scenarios. We initially had made the bowl with just adding the terracotta blend into there, which is where we got this color, but we didn't have enough, we ran out. So we're gonna blend with a little bit of the straw color, which I left it in the baggie so it wouldn't get all messed up. So the other color is straw, and that's what we're gonna use for our small egg. We're gonna go back and we're gonna paint these later on too. So I'm not too worried about the fact that these two sides are gonna be two different colors. It's okay. So for this large round container, it says on the back for the directions about how much you need. This one says you need to have 2 cups, and then you're gonna have 10 tablespoons of water. And then we added in our color. And so for every cup of Maker's Mix, you need to add 1.5 teaspoons of color. So that's what we did, 3 teaspoons total of the two different colors. There's a little bit more of the terracotta than there is of the straw in this one. So we went ahead and measured out. So Morgan, why don't you come here?
Okay.
And very carefully pour it in. We're using this just in a throwaway container. We just used an old yogurt cup. So yeah, I'm not worried about trying to make this super clean. So Morgan, would you like to stir this?
Yes.
Okay, so while he's stirring that one, this is for the large egg. For the other half of this, then we're gonna glue them together using another Beacon glue. So in the little container, and again, it's just a little throwaway container I'm not worried about. We've measured out 1/2 cup, which is probably more than what we need to use for the egg. And this time my son wanted to put the straw color in. And then we're making this, there's 2 different ways to make this mix. One is doing like a mold casting, so it's a thinner mix, which is what we use for this. So that's why we did the 5, for 1 cup it's 5.5. We actually did 5. We wanted it to be a little bit thicker. But if we're gonna do a hand sculpting or a thicker mix, you gotta decrease it again. So we kind of went with that mix for the little egg because we're gonna have to push it in and then close it to keep the firm seal. So we're gonna put in our 4 tablespoons, this is actually 2 tablespoons for 1/2 cup. So 3/4 of a teaspoon of the coloring agent. So you just wanna mix it up. And let me speed this up so it's not so boring as you see us mix. All right, so now that our mix is all done and thoroughly mixed and we got all the little bits and corners, you can kind of see the consistency of it. Looks like mud is the bottom line. It's a little bit of like a slushy mud.
Light mud.
Light mud, yeah. And you can definitely see the color has taken shape. And you can blend the colors like we did. You don't have to stick with just one color. So my son's gonna hold this open. My son's gonna hold this open.
Okay.
Okay, and we did have it stapled, but it's okay. It does not have to stay stapled. Make sure you coat it in an oil, a spray oil of some kind. And we're just gonna pour this in. Get it all the way in. And at first, when we first did this, I thought, oh, there's no way it just takes 2 cups of mix. And so we only did 1/2 cup. We only did half. We did 1 cup thinking that was gonna be plenty. We were wrong. It definitely takes the full 2 cups to get the full amount. Alright, so you want to get as much out of the container as you possibly can. You really don't want to leave any for the end. The next stage you want to do, wait, not that yet, is we got to bang the bottom to get all the air bubbles out. So, bang away. Now we're going to take our lid and we're going to press it in from the center and really press.
Okay.
Now, my son is 10 years old and he's doing a fantastic job. This is definitely something that you can do with your kids. Okay, back up. And have them help you. You want to make sure that you get it in all the nooks and crannies here.
You want to push it down with a weight too.
Yeah, so as you just said, we need to have some sort of weight. Now, I'm not too worried about the extra. We can kind of trim that off. So just get yourself some sort of a can and to weigh it down, because otherwise the lid's going to pop off and it's not going to be a good circle. So you really want to make sure it's nice and there firm. And then there you go. Now, if you want to, and I think we're going to go in, is we're going to clean some of this up right now.
What are you going to do with it?
We'll just put it in here. And then you're going to end up with basically this when you're all said and done. Now, the reason why we have a line going across here is because, like I said earlier, we did only 1 cup of the maker's mix and realized that's not enough. So we had to go back in a second cup, and we didn't dump it out, remix it and pour it in. We just added 2. So it created this line. It is holding firm, which is also why there's probably 2 different colors going on the inside.
Looks cool.
But it looks cool. Like my son said, it looks kind of fun. And we're going to go through and paint all this when it's done. Now, this is fully set from last night, so it's been sitting for...
It looks actually like a dinosaur ride.
It's getting there. Alright, so we're going to let this set. Now this says this takes about 30 to 40 minutes to set. We're going to give it a good hour just to be on the safe side. And it doesn't have to have any kind of special anything. Okay, so here is our other. Now notice how it's a little bit thicker. It doesn't have the watery feel. So we have our egg, and what we're just going to do is we're just going to kind of fill it in. We're going to pack it in super tight. Want to help me?
No.
Why don't you want to help me?
No, it's fine. Actually, no. It feels nice.
There you go. So it's not so bad, right? And it's not really sticking too bad on my hands. My hands are a little bit oily from the other one.
Mine too. I touch a lot of oil.
Okay.
You want to keep it all in for the outer rim can.
Now, we have a little bit too much because it won't close. And we might have enough to make 2 of these little guys.
Want to make 2?
We can make 2. So I popped the 2 sides out to get this. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of morph it together. Just kind of blending. So we have our egg shape. I mean, you could do this freehand, but I'm not very good at freehanding. Like a dinosaur egg to you, Morgan?
Yeah.
Dinosaur shape. Okay, we're going to let that sit. Really want to make sure that the 2 sides that I connected together. Should we make a second one?
Yeah.
So here we have our 2 little done eggs. We have a tiny bit left, but really not enough to do much of anything. So I don't know, maybe we'll make a fun little something out of that. And then we have our larger other half of our egg to go with our first piece. So we're gonna let these set and dry for about an hour. These are already starting to get there. Then we'll come back and we'll have some fun painting them. So the bowl has been cured. Here's our eggs, and they're nice. And they sound like little rocks. They're nice. I wouldn't go smashing them on the ground or anything, but they're nice and firm. With the extra pieces, my son made a little cross. You know when it's done when it does not feel hot. So as the chemical reaction is happening and as it's hardening, it's gonna have kind of a heat signature that it's gonna give off. So when it's done giving off its heat signature and it feels cool to the touch, you know it's dry, it's cured. So all you have to do is pop it out. And there it is. Okay, hang on. Now, we don't need all these extra pieces on the outside because we don't want to have a lip. So we're just going to crack these off, and it's okay if they're not perfect. This is just our extra stuff. So just continue cracking this off all the way around. And, you know, as you can see, I got a little bit thicker on one side than I did the other. And it's not going to matter that much because we're going to end up gluing these 2 things together. It's not going to be a perfect match, but we're going to do a pretty good job. Now what we might do is we might go ahead and make some extra mix after we're ungluing it and just kind of covering up the extras.
You can use these.
I don't know if we're going to be able to use those, honey, because they're already kind of dry. Now we're going to add some fun decorations to the outside of these. Not decorations, but we're going to add some kind of coloring. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sponge and I'm going to get a little bit wet with some water. Not a whole lot because I don't want to moisturize these too much. just want to get my sponge damp with some water. And then I just have some fun paint. I don't want to overdo the amount of paint. Just in similar colors to what I already have going on. And I'm going to lightly kind of go in and just add some texture. Not a ton. And again, I don't want to overdo. I just want to add some colored texture. And you can go with some other fun colors, darker colors, lighter colors, really kind of whatever you want. I might pull a dark color in here too. If I feel like it's too dark, then we can change it up. I'm just giving it a modelly effect. I think I'm going to bring in a dark color. I like the idea of a darker color. I also grabbed some mists. So these are just glimmer mists, and I can spray and add some fun. Whoa, there goes that. And then you can go in and kind of blot it and really give it that modelly effect. And so just kind of add something to what, and again, these are going to be eggs for us, to what our eggs might actually look like. And I brought some other colors in too. And so we can continue kind of adding and layering. There's no right or wrong to this. And so I have all my kids here, and we're all going to sit here and play. And we're all gonna decorate either an egg or little eggs or big eggs. All right, so we used the various colors of paint and we just kind of had fun. My two younger ones did the little eggs, and then my son and I did the bowls. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna heat set these. So all you wanna do is you point and just kind of go around. It's hot air coming out, so we don't wanna overdo it, but just to get it kind of dry. We're gonna use the power tack to help and glue it. And the main reason why I really wanted to use this is that on the package it says for concrete, so that is perfect. I'm going to put the bead of glue around the layer that is the more equidistant shape, the regular shape, versus the one that my son made that's a little bit thicker and fatter on the glue takes, if you look on the back side, it gives you some information. It takes at least 24 hours for best results to dry. So we're just gonna kind of let this sit and finish drying. So I've allowed the egg to dry a little bit, but one of the things that's kind of bothering me is the fact that it's got such a flat dome. It doesn't have an egg shape. So I made another half cup of the maker's mix with the yellowish color in there, and then we're also gonna go through and kind of fill in some of the gap, and then we can always add some extra mist and coloration to it. So that's what we're gonna do now. So the egg is done. After it was done and we added the extra layer to make it look more egg-shaped, and you saw my son's hand coming in and helping fill in. He got a little bored with the process and didn't want to get his hands super mucky, so I kind of helped fill in a little bit. I then gave him all the mists and the sprays and the paints to go back and create this mottled effect, and he really liked kind of lumpy looking, so he liked the idea that it would look like a fossilized egg just found out of the ground. And so I just let him kind of do what he wanted to with the final product of the egg. And I thought he did a pretty good job. I like the way he made it look. He also did some research on this. So I know we're getting into summer and he did this for a school project, but as your kids get into summer, it's always kind of fun to give them certain projects to do. And he did a lot of online research on the type of dinosaur eggs that have already been found, the type of size of the eggs, the shape of the eggs, how the eggs are laid. So I had him do some online research before we went through and made the egg, and that way he had some information and it wasn't just, let's make an egg. He did some stuff behind it, and same with the little ones. The color, possible color of the egg, where the egg in the world was found, the name of the dinosaur, all that kind of stuff. So he did some behind the scenes research on this before we actually set around and making it. Then he had fun making it, of course. So thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.